Hi, it's Joy and Saying currently watching Batwoman Season 2, Episode 5, Gore on Canvas, which sounds like that painting that Kate was looking into that was linked to Sophia, so I guess that's going to be kind of relevant in this episode. So much is happening. Ryan still has her kryptonite wound. Alice knows Ocean, but she doesn't remember it. Is Kate alive? There is a lot going on and I'm so excited to watch this episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. Shady dealings and shady alleys. Oh, wonderful. He just killed those two cops. Thank you, Batwoman.
No. I don't take orders from crows. And I got a better shot at finding KK before you do.
I mean, everyone should work together.
All crows are bastards.
The problem with the crows is that they were designed by the rich to protect the rich, paid for by the rich, and if those rich people are criminals themselves, as we've learned, who cares? Who are you? I mean, I know who you are, but what, like, who are you as a person?
Like the old days.
I'm scared for Ryan.
Speaking, but we're good.
Aww.
You got your life together. That's all I wanted.
Did she? She's skulking around Ocean.
Hey, what is this?
Oh yeah.
A work injury. Take care of yourself for once.
I would be invested in this, but I'm scared.
Giving you an antibiotic.
So.
Oh, she told Mary. Good.
It might have turned.
I don't need another reason for him not to trust me. He's been questioning every decision I make.
Not to backseat drive.
Oh.
You're proficient in 6 different forms of martial
That's
arts.
due to his
What's the point of just
Kate.
I told him we want the location of Coriana. He'll give it up, take it from a father.
That's his love for Kate and his grief and concern.
You are literally starving.
Katie Kane saved my life. Really,
Hmm.
Gotham Prep. We make it to the dance, and I came out by default because I wore Kate's Alexander McQueen off-the-shoulder mini, which begged a lot of questions. But I wasn't afraid anymore.
Oh.
Psychotic evildoer breaks into home, splashes homeowner's guts all over some old painting in the foyer, and calls it
Lovely.
fine art.
Yep, Gore on Canvas.
It's a bit. If you need to contact me again, I'll refer you to my lawyers.
The crows are not trustworthy.
I am not gonna grovel at her feet.
Work with
Or
her.
at least
And when he started holding me back from my dreams, I killed him.
Recognize her from Gotham?
some of us are trying to make a difference. Well, in my experience, when the crows fly together, they call it a murder for a reason.
Good line.
I'm not helping them.
The crows need, and law enforcement in general, need to just be ripped out and redone.
Sorry that happened to you.
What was yours?
The crows killed my father.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I love their bonding, even though I hate that it's over their pain. But sometimes that's how you
Let you go
connect.
first.
It's time to take this to the next level.
You've got some choices.
Torture is
You can get the
wrong.
location of Coriana.
Torture is wrong.
Touch with Sophia.
The many arms will kill whoever lays hands on that painting. I'll never find Coriana.
I never said the two are related.
Mm-hmm.
The painting gives us the Coriana. Is it a map?
Ooh, what the hell? Oh, cyanide, like suicide pill? Oof.
This is a one-off. We're not partners.
You, Sophie, I do know you are a crow with genuine beliefs and goodness in your heart. You need to fix your organisation.
What do you do?
My family cultivated everything together.
Both of their minds been wiped. What is going on?
In a place like Gotham.
I'm guessing he was expecting her, because he does remember her.
I called her sister.
Oof. Interesting.
I
Hmm. I love these three.
Of course, I'm a big believer in the First Amendment, except when it comes to the shenanigans that go on behind the collective's closed doors.
Abby, baby.
Oof.
What are you doing to my girl here?
She still runs in dangerous circles.
Big night.
Pronouns.
He, him, they, them. I go with the flow. Now you two.
I like her for asking.
Lying through your teeth when you told me you pulled your life today. Hey, for your information, I'm clean.
You just help other people.
You to pull their lives together. You are the only one here who's judging.
Yeah. You're clean, but you're helping to keep other people not clean.
Hang on.
Loud and clear.
At least she's giving it to rich people. They can afford the fancy rehabs. Ah, people looking everywhere. Ugh. Are you allowed to touch?
You're gonna need to steal it.
It's in the open. At the moment, at least.
How do you even know what Coriana looks like?
Because I was there 5 years ago.
That's impossible.
Something's been done to your memories.
How peculiar.
Mm-hmm.
With option A.
Now
Oh no, this is a stupid flower.
he's gonna remember.
Me having the one thing you can't. What the hell is that?
So he remembers her too.
Option B it is.
I love Alex.
You know, products.
I see it.
You need to learn to say the word,
You're gonna have to
Luke.
move fast.
Oh god, the graffiti artist person is here. Is it Evan? Oh. Uh-huh.
We have competition.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of wolf spider?
Yep. Evan. My theory. Oof. Another one to go on the auction table. Ugh, come on. Oh, she's injured. Time to go. Oh god.
Fucking cartridge is jammed.
Oof.
Dude, what did you do? You jumped in front of me.
Wonderful. You need to speak up if your partner does something criminal.
Get some size on him. Gore wants the painting. Not an excessive force headline. Let's go.
Ugh, you dick.
Someone else will clean him up.
You're enabling this, so you're just as guilty.
Evan? Evan! Evan, can you hear me?
Oh goodness.
But when the bone shattered, it nicked his femoral artery, so if you hadn't been there to bring him in time, he would have bled out.
What happened back there?
The
You wanna
crows.
know what happened? I wear the suit. I take the bullets. So when I say I have a bad feeling about something, you two listen.
I'm glad she's, you know, standing up for herself and not kind of letting them do whatever, but just... There are, like with all criminal organisations, some good cops, but the second they're aware of the bad apples in their communities and they don't do anything about it, that makes them bad cops. Sophie knows that there's shitty stuff going on. They need to tell Sophie what happened, and Sophie needs to deal with it and wipe out all the terrible crows. I mean, it shouldn't just be Sophie. She doesn't need to have the burden on herself, but if she's a crow, and a pretty senior crow at that, she needs to fix it.
Many arms of death.
Yeah, that's what the guy said.
Relatives of yours, I presume.
She's not really tied up, right?
Surprise.
Yes. Oh dear. They make an effective team.
Cash.
Can he humanise Alice? Make her want to redeem herself?
I believe in the mission of the Crows, an organization that decides what justice is based on who can pay the most money. that beats information out of his suspects, that runs someone over for stealing a painting.
Yeah.
That's what you believe in.
You think 2 men losing their jobs isn't enough? You're right. But I'm fighting to change the culture.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
But
Sophie
if
is
you wanna
trying,
permanently
but
add your badge,
You want to know where Coriana is?
we'll see who gets there first.
you need to be willing to burn the crows down and build them up again if you have to, but get rid of the crows and create an organisation that is still funded by the people with more than enough fucking money to do it, that helps everyone.
The Napier painting, it was a forgery.
That's impossible.
No, Batwoman took a sample of the organic
Oh,
compound
for
that was
real?
painted over the original canvas, and it was pig's blood.
It's green! Kryptonite! I mean, I don't think she can do anything but call Mary. Ooh. I expected as much. We'll see what it does, how it affects her. If she has something to fight for.
Can you check in the back real quick? Is there a white tube back there?
Does he have the Napier painting?
You ever hear of a guy called Jack Napier?
Mm-hmm. Oh my lord, of course they have it. That was a really good episode. I loved everything about it. I really enjoyed the way we are kind of still feeling out these team dynamics. That was the thing that I was the wariest about with having a new Batwoman, a new character, rather than just recasting Kate, was the fact that like we'd spent a season building up dynamics and I'm going to do it all over again, but I think they're doing it really well with Ryan. Ryan is such a fantastic character that, like, you know, you bond with her instantly the minute the first episode I loved her already, which is fantastic. And kind of seeing that they had a point with working with the crows in the sense that to get Kate back, it made sense to kind of pool their resources in this moment. But I mean, the minute they agreed to let the crows torture someone, like, I get that he was a murderer, I'm not going to cry about it, but he didn't, you can't torture people. Torture is wrong regardless. So the fact that they were okay with them doing that and then everything else, I understand the desperation for people like Jacob, even Mary and Luke, because someone they love is out there and this murderer has the answer, but I don't know, there are other ways about it, to go about it, or just lines you shouldn't cross. Also the crow hitting him with the car, obviously despicable, and it's 100% correct that they lost their jobs and should face criminal prosecution or some kind of punishment beyond that, because they'll just get hired by someone else somewhere else. But it is true that I think they're doing a good job of kind of showcasing the real problems we have in the real world with Black Lives Matter and just police brutality in the US, sure, but there are examples of it in England too. It is a problem here as well, where I am not a huge expert on the subject. I'm not going to speak for hours on it, but there needs to be institutional change, and it needs to be more than just changing the culture. Like, I 100% believe Sophie is a good person. I 100% know Sophie is a good person. I believe that she's doing what she believes is the right thing, the only way she believes she can do it. But she needs to do more, or more needs to be done by other people other than her. It shouldn't just be Sophie. But the very concept of the crows were designed by the rich to protect the rich, and they protect criminals, and that's fine. You know, they need to be there for the little ones, for the little guys, the poorer people who don't have private jets. Now, I do fully believe if someone like Sophie saw something happening to someone that was of lower income, she would help. But other crows will just do what gets them the money. That is their culture. Their culture is, we protect the rich, we protect the nice part of Gotham, and that is wrong. We shouldn't need the crows. There should just be the police, and the police should not be police in the way we have them. They need to have like institutional change, training. There needs to be more branches for people that specialize in mental health and all the things that are advocated for by far more eloquent people than me in the real world. So within the confines of Batwoman, the crows need to have a huge shake up and not just be all about the rich, and there needs to be a lot more oversight and training and rooting out the bad apples, because, you know, we had the bad apples that killed Luke's dad. We had the bad apples that were harassing Ryan on the street and got lucky that she had drugs on her. We had the bad apples that did this. You know, at what point do you just accept that it's a bad orchard and scrap it? I mean, so that, I think they're doing a good job of it, and it's something that I'm interested. I watch a fair few crime TV shows, and I often really judge them on how they do episodes about this and plot lines about this, because it's very telling. There's a lot of sort of pro-police propaganda on television, and I fully will, I mean, as much as I will say ACAB, all cops are bastards, yeah, sure, there are some people who are individually good cops and who maybe don't know anything about the bad cops, but institutionally, all cops are bastards. Yes, Ryan and Angelique. Obviously, we knew Angelique wasn't totally clean. We knew she was in Ocean's apartment doing God knows what. I presume stealing it, picking up drugs. She is connected to bad people. Now, okay, yeah, I feel like her being at an event for smarmy rich criminals, giving them drugs, I'm more okay with, because they're criminals for one already, and B, like I said, they can afford the super expensive rehabs if they need them. But she's rekindled this relationship with Ryan on a lie, and the lie was that she had turned her life around and was clean. Angelique's habit, her drug activities were part of what cost Ryan the last 5 years of her life. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm not being like, bad Angelique, it was all you, but you'd like to think if she truly loved her that that would have been an impetus enough to turn her life around. Now, I can also understand that, as we saw at the beginning of the series with Ryan, if I believe from what Sophie said, Angelique has a criminal history. It is very hard to find a job when you have a criminal history. It's part of what leads into this cycle of the crime life. But she should have been open with Ryan. She should have said to Ryan, look, you know how hard it is, and I'm clean, I did that, but I can't get free. I can't stop doing it. And then maybe Ryan would have helped her, got her a job at the bar, or done something for her. But starting the relationship with Ryan on a lie is a huge red flag, especially if she does that while trying to apologise. So I am sad about that. I think they could be a relationship I could root for in the long run. Much like at the beginning of season 1 of Batwoman, I was like, I mean, Sophie wasn't a criminal, but there were Kate and Sophie were having a lot of interactions with Batwoman and Sophie, and there were lots of lies there, but also Sophie was just not ready with who she was as a person to be with Kate, and I was like, in the fullness of time they could be together. And now I don't think that, because Kate's never going to be in the show full time and Sophie's not going to leave, I hope. Then the actors will be leaving the show, and I don't want her to do that. I don't want the character to go, so I'm very intrigued. I did like Ryan standing up to, I say standing up to Mary and Luke. I think she needs to escape the pressure she's putting on herself to be the perfect Batwoman and to, in a sense of, be as good as Kate. Meet Kate's, like, Mary is not putting that on her, and I don't truly think Luke is. I know Luke is very critical of her, but he was of Kate to begin with. They did not get off to the best start in a lot of ways. But if with him, you have to remember that he is struggling with the fact that they are replacing Kate. So my point of, I don't think it was necessarily a bad idea at the time they did it to work with the crows. It made a lot of sense. But similarly, if the crows are going to keep doing stuff like that, then it cannot happen again. So while I agree with Ryan that she is the one being in danger, she is the one that had to find him bleeding on the floor and get him to help. There are 3 of them. It should be, 2 outvote 1. But it is also, what makes this show so brilliant is that every single character is coming at these dilemmas from different standpoints. Like in this episode, Mary's knowledge of the high society kind of players, it will really help them with knowing what to wear, who people were. And in the previous episode, Ryan's unfortunate experiences being at the other end of the spectrum will really help them. They do kind of mesh, and Luke is sort of a person in between. He has suffered discrimination, he has had bad experiences as a result of the sort of police brutality side of things, but he's also never been in quite the same extreme conditions that Ryan was in. But so I think working with the crows is a hard one. I feel like there will be times in the future where they might need to. With Sophie especially, maybe if Sophie says, look, I'm still working with the crows, but I'm here as if they're me, maybe that would be different. Then we have Alice and Ocean. I forgot his name then. Now, it was quite obvious from the last episode that they were going to be a romantic thing, and I find the whole concept that they've forgotten fascinating. How have they forgotten? How has Sophia managed to have some targeted thing to make you forget? Because that is yet another thing that is quite terrifying to consider spreading into the world. Now, he said in that thing, obviously she was upset about Alice stealing the desert rose, and then he was like, it's not about the flower, it's that we've got something you can never have. Now, I'm assuming Alice didn't secretly have a baby or something and she's infertile, because that would be weird. I'm assuming I don't know why she can never have love. Like, that's what I'm assuming. It just means their love. The other thing would only be Alice being pregnant, but as far as we know, there is no. If Alice found out she has a kid somewhere, that would be like ludicrous. I'm assuming it is their love. Now, is that just because Sophia is incapable of love because she's a horrible person, a sociopath? It all seems very dramatic, and I'm intrigued. He says he's her brother, but not by blood, so I guess they grew up together, or he grew up with her on the island. They are a family, in all the ways that count, and he picked Alice over Sophia, maybe, and Sophia was not too happy about that. So I'm very intrigued in finding out this story. This is not something I necessarily thought they would do with Alice, the direction they necessarily take her. And like I've said many times, I'm not saying Alice is a bad villain. Alice is fantastic. She is one of the best parts of this show. Rachel Skarsten is fantastic, and I adore her. I love Alice as a character. She is so much fun. She lights up the scene, every scene she's in. But if this show goes as long as The Flash or Arrow, Alice as a villain would get stale unless she came and went or something. And I don't mean that with any criticism. Like, she is one of the best villains, if not the best. Like, she's up there with the best villains on any Arrowverse show / any show. But having one antagonist the whole time gets old. What she would need to do would be become potentially an anti-hero more, or fully redeem herself, you know, kind of over the course of things. And maybe Ocean will be someone that will show her that if it hadn't been for the memories she lost, she would have chosen a better path or something. You know, maybe there will be hope for Alice through this avenue, an avenue she chose for herself, rather than through an avenue that is her choosing Kate or something. I'm very intrigued about the possibilities of that. Like, it really makes me excited. And so yeah, me saying that I think Alice will get old as a villain is not me criticising Alice. Alice is fantastic. It's just whatever the show, whether it's the greatest villain of all time, being around the whole time, kind of Alice just popping into their homes, licking their peppers, being a bit annoying, and then they don't quite catch her, eventually gets old. So I'm excited about this new development with Alice. I'm loving the new developments with the Bat team. They will find their niche. They will work it all out. And they need to listen to Ryan when she has reservations, but she also needs to listen to them if they have points that counter them, and they're getting there, and it's brilliant. The kryptonite, what does kryptonite do if it goes in a person? I guess it's in her bloodstream. I'm very stressed. I love Ryan. Stress. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.